China's ambitious bid to dominate the hypersonic arms race suffered a humiliating setback on July 22, 2025, when its cutting-edge DF-27 hypersonic glide vehicle, launched from a silo near Xichang in Sichuan province, veered wildly off course during a high-profile test over the Taiwan Strait, splashing down 400 kilometers southwest of its intended target in the Philippine Sea, a catastrophic miss attributed to covert U.S. quantum jamming that scrambled the missile's inertial guidance system and exposed the fragility of autonomous hypersonic weapons in an era of electronic shadow wars. The DF-27, Beijing's crown jewel in a decade-long push to outpace American missile defenses, was designed as a carrier killer capable of Mach 20 speeds and mid-flight maneuvers to evade interceptors like the U.S. Navy's SM-6 or Aegis systems. Priced at over $50 million per unit, the test failure not only squandered a fortune but froze escalation in the Taiwan Strait, forcing PLA Rocket Force commanders to confront the limits of their autonomous war machines against an invisible foe wielding quantum-encrypted disruption. The DF-27's development began in earnest around 2018, evolving from the DF-26 Guam killer as part of China's three-step hypersonic roadmap outlined in the 14th Five-Year Plan. Unlike traditional ballistic missiles that follow predictable parabolas, the DF-27 integrates a boost-glide vehicle, HGV warhead that detaches at 100 kilometers altitude, skips across the upper atmosphere like a stone on water, and dives unpredictably at hypersonic velocities. Official Chinese state media touted it as a precision scalpel for anti-access area denial (A2AD) operations, with a nominal range of 5,000–8,000 kilometers, enough to threaten U.S. bases in Guam, Okinawa, or even Hawaii. The glide phase, powered by aerodynamic lift rather than engines, allows evasive S-turns and altitude skips to confound radar tracking. Inertial guidance, the missile's primary navigation backbone, relies on ring laser gyroscopes and accelerometers to plot course without GPS signals, which are vulnerable to jamming. Redundant systems include stellar navigation for mid-course corrections and terminal infrared seekers for final acquisition. Yet, as the 2025 test revealed, these redundancies crumbled under sophisticated electronic assault. The test was shrouded in secrecy, codenamed Thunderbolt 27, and framed as a routine strategic deterrence exercise by the PLA. Intelligence leaks later confirmed it simulated a saturation strike on a Mach U.S. carrier group off Taiwan's east coast, with the HGV programmed to release decoys and execute a 30-degree bank maneuver at Mach 15. Launch occurred at 04:17 Beijing time from Launch Complex 4, a TOL transporter erector launcher vehicle rumbling through misty Sichuan valleys. The solid-fuel booster ignited with a thunderous roar, propelling the 15-ton missile to 200 kilometers apogee in 180 seconds. Separation occurred flawlessly. Telemetry showed the HGV detaching cleanly, its carbon-carbon nose cone glowing cherry red as it entered the glide phase. Initial vectors aligned perfectly, azimuth 112 degrees, velocity 6.5 kilometers per second, toward a splashdown zone 1,200 kilometers east of Hainan Island. Ground control at the Beijing Aerospace Control Center monitored via encrypted Q-band links with backup from Yulin Naval Base radars. For the first 420 seconds, all systems nominal. The HGV skipped 3 times, maintaining equilibrium in the rarefied mesosphere. Disaster struck at T+480 seconds during the 4th skip over the Bashi Channel. Telemetry flickered, gyro output spiked erratically, accelerometers reported phantom 20G jolts, and the flight computer logged navigation divergence errors, cascading through its fault-tolerant algorithms. The HGV yawed 47 degrees off-axis, its control surfaces, hydraulic vanes and thrusters, firing in futile compensation. Instead of arcing toward the target buoy cluster, it banked south-southeast, accelerating to Mach 18 before plasma sheath blackout severed all comms at 60 kilometers altitude. Re-entry sensors, blinded by ionized air, failed to reacquire. The vehicle tumbled, shedding ablative tiles in fiery streaks visible from Philippine fishing boats 300 kilometers away. It impacted at 9:42 local time, carving a 50-meter crater in 4,200-meter deep waters off Palawan's southwest coast, 400 kilometers astray, equivalent to missing New York by the distance to Philadelphia. Recovery teams, dispatched from Subic Bay, salvaged fragments revealing fried circuit boards and quantum-encrypted noise signatures in the guidance module's error logs. U.S. quantum jamming emerged as the smoking gun, a black-budget triumph from DARPA's Quantum-Assured Tactical Electronic Warfare (QATEW) program, operational since March 2025, aboard USS Ronald Reagan in the 7th Fleet. Quantum jamming exploits entangled photons and superposition states to generate noisy interference patterns that mimic legitimate signals, but induce exponential error growth in classical inertial systems. Traditional jammers flood frequencies with white noise. Quantum variants using nitrogen vacancy centers in diamond lattices create coherent ghost inputs that fool gyroscopes into registering false rotations, up to 0.1 degrees per second drift, compounding to 400 kilometers over 20 minutes. Deployed via low Earth orbit CubeSats from the Blackjack constellation and stealthy RQ-180 drones loitering over the Strait, the system targeted the DF-27's INS frequencies, 1.5–2.4 GHz, without emitting detectable power spikes. Declassified snippets from a September 2025 NSA brief leaked to The Intercept described it as an invisible scalpel slicing the missile's brain mid-thought. The jam activated at T+300 seconds when the HGV's plasma sheath thinned, exposing onboard antennas to subtle quantum pulses that overwrote calibration matrices. Chinese post-mortem analysis, per hacked PLA emails, confirmed non-local correlation anomalies, incompatible with natural drift, hallmarks of entanglement-based spoofing. This failure laid bare the Achilles heel of autonomous hypersonic weapons, their over-reliance on self-contained guidance in GPS-denied, comms blackout environments. The DF-27's INS, while hardened with fiber optic gyros, accurate to 0.001 degrees hour, assumes a benign electromagnetic spectrum. Quantum jamming exploits Heisenberg's uncertainty principle to inject probabilistic errors that classical filters can't distinguish from real perturbations, vibrations from skips, Coriolis effects, or thermal expansion. In simulations run by Rand Corporation post-incident, a jammed DF-27 salvo against a Taiwan invasion fleet scattered 62% wide of Mach, with 18% self-destructing from overload. The exposure froze escalation. Xi Jinping, briefed at Zhongnanhai, reportedly halted further live tests, redirecting funds to quantum-secure INS variants using nitrogen vacancy magnetometers. PLA Rocket Force Chief Li Yuchao faced quiet demotion, his invincible arrow narrative shattered in internal Politburo reviews. The geopolitical shockwaves rippled across the Indo-Pacific. Taiwan's Ministry of National Defense, monitoring via E2D Hawkeye feeds, celebrated with restrained briefings. The dragon's claws were clipped before they struck. President Lai Ching-te invoked the miss in a UN General Assembly speech decrying reckless tests endangering innocence. U.S. Pacific Command, under Admiral Samuel Paparo, leaked sanitized QATW details to deter copycats. While Congress approved $2.8 billion for quantum EW in FY 2026, allies piled on. Japan accelerated its Type 12 upgrades with quantum-resistant seekers. Australia tested entangled photon decoys in the Coral Sea. Russia, Beijing's hypersonic partner, distanced itself. Avant-garde tests paused amid fears of similar vulnerabilities. Iran, eyeing DF-27 tech transfers, shelved Fatah-2 deployments. Technologically, the debacle accelerated a paradigm shift. Hypersonic autonomy, once hailed as unstoppable, revealed its brittleness. HGVs like the DF-27 prioritize speed over redundancy, with glide phases too brief, 8 to 12 minutes, for mid-course uplinks. Future designs may integrate quantum inertial sensors, atomic clocks, and spin-entangled particles for jam-proof navigation, but these add mass and heat-eroding range. U.S. countermeasures evolved too. Lockheed's Glide Phase Interceptor, greenlit for 2027, now incorporates quantum radar to see plasma-sheathed targets. The miss underscored a broader truth. In the quantum age, physics defies the physics defiers. China's $10 billion hypersonic bet yielded a Pacific puddle, a multi-million-dollar dud that vanished into irrelevance, enthralling arms race watchers with the spectacle of an electronic wall, subtle, silent, and sovereign, toppling titans before they flew.